What if you were an employee and your employer came to you and said, you're not going to be eligible for the 401k company match because you're not vaccinated against COVID-19? What would you think? Can an employer actually do this? Well, believe it or not, I'm beginning to get this question. So I thought we could discuss it together today in my blog. So can an employer exclude employees from the company match or other employer contributions based on a person's vaccination status? Now, while I don't have a definitive answer for you to this question, and I would advise you to seek out appropriate counsel on this issue, however, there are a lot of parameters that we can discuss together today. For example, vaccination status may or may not be considered an official employee classification. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, first, employee classification is a topic that is somewhat misunderstood. You see, in a retirement plan, an employee can exclude a legitimate class of employees from plan eligibility simply by defining them and codifying them as ineligible in the plan document. Then that group of employees no longer needs to be offered benefit eligibility under the plan. For example, we could exclude, say, seasonal employees who come to work only during the holiday season at a retail store or stores, and then they leave shortly afterward. We just need to pass a coverage test in our Internal Revenue Code section 410B. If we pass this test, we're golden. But the question for counsel is whether vaccination status is a legitimate employee classification that you can actually use. Now, what about any other issues with vaccination status? Honestly, I don't really see any other barriers to using vaccination status as a benefit exclusion. Vaccination status isn't generally discriminatory in nature. It doesn't affect race, gender, sexual orientation, or age. Now, there could be some religious implications, and there are certain employees who may have a medical issue that exempts them from taking the vaccine. But with a little wordsmithing, many of these issues could be addressed in your plan document. Also, someone could be vaccinated or unvaccinated regardless of their income status. So such an exclusion doesn't directly benefit the highly compensated employees in any way, which is a good thing from discrimination testing purposes. In reality, there doesn't seem to be anything in the RISA or the tax code that would prevent this, except for the question of employee classification that I mentioned initially. But here's the rub. Even if your counsel gives you the thumbs up on doing this, and if you have a high concentration of unvaccinated employees, you might fail the 410B coverage test and be forced to give a swath or all of those employees back their employer contributions anyway, just so you can pass coverage, even if they still remain unvaccinated. The bottom line is it's only going to work if your employee demographics enables you to pass the coverage test. So I recommend trying to vet this out in advance. I hope this has been helpful. I'm Rob Massa. I'm the Foracle from Qualified Plan Advisors in Houston, Texas, and I'm wishing all of you a successful retirement. Thank you.